As the title details, this video will be breaking down the newest Otsutsuki members that have been introduced in the series in part 2. There's not a lot of information about this group of people, and I mean, there isn't enough, I should say, but there isn't quite a lot. And plus, I don't see this group of people really being discussed. So I thought this would be a good time to kind of discuss and review the information on these mysterious characters. So y'all know the deal. Go ahead and leave a like, leave a sub as well. First thing I'll state right off the bat is that these characters aren't true Otsutsuki naturally, but they're Otsutsuki in the same way that the clones from Star Wars are Jango Fett. Well, kind of. Let me explain. In Star Wars, the clone army are literally just that, clones, which are based off a template of a character, that of Jango Fett, to be specific. And while each clone has their own distinct personality and character trait, they are all artificially made. That same idea persists here with these claw-grimed creatures. And if you're not familiar with the term claw-grimes are essentially humanoid mindless creatures created from the Ten-Tails with the purpose of, well, we're not exactly sure. It definitely has something to do with the overall plan of recreating a divine fruit and stealing all the chakra on Earth, so, you know, a bunch of bad shit. But there's enough information that indicates that they may have an additional purpose outside of that. Anyways, let's focus on the word mindless, right? Because these are how these claw-grimes have started out. And this differs from the whole Star Wars stuff I talked about with the clones and all that. These claw-grime creatures that were showcased were meant to be mindless until they started evolving. Yeah, kind of like Charmeleon. In fact, that's actually a perfect analogy. Let's stay with that for a second. The regular way for a Charmeleon to evolve is to get enough experience points, then it naturally evolves to Charizard, gets wings, more power, and all that fiery shit, right? Well, imagine Charmeleon evolves not like that, but it evolves by seeing a random Pidgeot flying around, gets a 12-gauge shotgun, kills the Pidgeot, and steals its powers and wings, and then it becomes a Charizard. That's a crazy-ass analogy, but that's the type of evolution we got going on here with these clone creatures in Boruto. Side note, guys, we just talked about Boruto, Pokemon, and Star Wars, and farming with a shotgun in the span of like only a few minutes. That's some premium content. I think it's the type of shit that deserves a like, which you can go ahead and do right now. But anyways, let's continue on. That's basically how these claw-grime creatures have been evolving, but the weird thing is that it has not been explained why this is happening or occurring in the first place. Now, granted, I kind of was joking, obviously. The specific way in how these claw-grime creatures work, or at least seemingly have been evolving, is that they have a specific person that once they get a hold of, they root down and then become a divine tree and seemingly render the person that they had just gotten a hold of unconscious. And in this process, they seemingly start to absorb their chakra, and a lot of the other details past that are pretty unclear. I wish I had more information from that, but a lot of those details haven't been really showcased, because even during the first time when we see these evolved claw-grime creatures, they are seen as a complete shock. We don't see like the actual like appearance from them, but we see them kind of just show up in this same distinct pocket universe, or pocket dimension, I should say, that Code had originally had via the Ten-Tails. We just see them essentially just like show up there as if they've already been there for who knows how much time. And because of that, we don't exactly know the entire details of the process of how they are being created, but we do know that at the end of the day, the process is initially started from the claw-grime creatures somehow stealing the chakra from whichever target person that they get some type of a hold of. Now, from everything evidenced in the manga to this latest chapter, not even Code, who originally designed these creatures, has any clue of what the fuck is going on and how powerful and autonomous they have become, which is the craziest part about this, because you'll see later that Code is completely shocked about these creatures even existing. Side tangent, think Mewtwo after being created in a lab on Cinnabar Island. In fact, that's a perfect analogy. Remember, Mewtwo was obviously created utilizing the template of Mew and a piece of that DNA as well. But the one thing that was never intended was for Mewtwo to become as cerebral as he ended up becoming. When you think back to when Mewtwo was first, released, all the doctors and the scientists were in complete shock that Mewtwo had become as intelligent and as rage-filled as he was. The whole goal was for Mewtwo to literally just be the most powerful Pokemon in existence, right? But they had never thought or intended that Mewtwo was going to have all these additional, crazy side effects. And I bring up that example to relate it back here to how Code initially designed these Clawgrime creatures for a specific purpose, that in terms of helping him create Tentales and get all the chalk from Earth and probably help, get Boruto and Kawaki and all that stuff. But these brand new Otsutsuki creatures was not a part of the plan whatsoever. The side effect of that seemingly is that a brand new creature is formed. Nevertheless, we are showcased several evolved Clawgrimes, which are essentially brand new Otsutsuki creatures. The evolved Clawgrimes are the Moegi template known as Matsuri, the Sasuke template known as
Hidari,
the Bug template, we don't actually know his name, and then lastly, the unknown template known as Judah. These Otsutsuki creatures are all based on the template of another person, and they also seem to have the abilities of their templates, as well as overpowered abilities of being from the same clan as the Otsutsuki clan, such as flight, enhanced strength, speed, agility, and even the Rinnegan. The existence of these creatures do not seem like it's something that just occurred by accident, but it seems like the structure of a much more crazier scheme that is occurring that is not yet available to any of these characters that we see. Another fascinating thing about these Clawgrime evolution creatures is that they seemingly are getting emotional status of their templates as well. Toward the ending of one of the chapters of 2 Blue Vortex, Judah tells the rest of the clone evolution creatures to continue to evolve and base it off their instincts, right? We see a quick panel of Matsuri basically feeling the sadness of Ino Shikacho that they were expressing because Moegi was in this unconscious-like state. It was really interesting to see that because it showcases that these creatures are either way more advanced than we even gave them credit for, or becoming more advanced as time continues to move on, to the point where it's almost as if every ounce of the template's being is suddenly like maybe going to this new Otsutsuki character that they're based off of, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's not just the fact that they kind of look like this specific template, but it's like now over time, they may start to have the same type of emotions, characteristics, and it may start to override the current personality traits that they have. Kind of similar to Meruem, that's his name. Remember from Hunter x Hunter, the guy known as Meruem? I never know how to say that name. Meruem? I don't know, whatever the fuck his name. You know what the hell I'm talking about. This person right here, the guy from Hunter x Hunter, okay? But you know how like initially he started off with a very specific personality trait, very evil, very, just wild, crazy, just merciless. But over time, as he continued to gain more information about just the world and where he was, learning from books from other people as well, his personality started to adapt, you know what I mean? And just kind of like evolve and adapt over time. That might be something that occurs with these Clawgrime evolution creatures, to the point where they start to behave differently, because initially they were just these merciless, like just crazy creatures, right? And they still have their goal, but it seems as though over time that goal may start to, I don't know, adapt, but we'll see. Another interesting thing as well is that they seem to also balance this fine line between being autonomous and then sharing a kind of like hive mind like environment amongst each other, which is pretty interesting. Another thing that we can kind of monitor and keep track of over time in terms of how they're able to continue to balance that fine line between being autonomous versus that type of hive-minded setup that they have going on, right? No additional person of significance, and this is kind of like my final point in terms of talking about these guys for this video, but the character known as Judah, there hasn't been any other specific person of note that he could have been based off of, right? So we have Moegi, we have Sasuke, and we have Bug. But you have this final Clawgrime evolution creature. His template has not been shown, and it's not by accident. At least I don't think. Stuff like this, subtle things like this, I don't think it's by accident whatsoever. He could be based off a number of people we don't know. We don't know how much time. Well, actually, we do, technically speaking. Actually, I'm not exactly sure how much time it's been in terms of like when the Clawgrimes were made. But regardless, it's been a good amount of time, right? Where these Clawgrime creatures could have been going to who knows where. Well, I mean, I'm saying basing all of their templates off a multitude of different people. It's been pretty specific and centered in terms of who their templates have been. There's only 4 known ones in terms of the evolution creatures. They've been centered around Konoha. So you would think that this final Clawgrime evolution creature would be someone that is somehow, some way connected to Konoha, but we could be completely wrong. We don't know, right? I think his template is being left out for a specific reason. I think we will see that reason in due time, and I don't think it's a coincidence that this guy just so happens to also be the most knowledgeable. You know what I mean? Like, he seems to be like the most knowledgeable person of the entirety of the bunch there. Being the most knowledgeable person, he also seemingly gives the most details and has the best understanding of the world around them. And he seems to be the most curious of the bunch as well. He's a pretty fascinating character, honestly. There's been quite a bit of discussion in terms of who that template could be, who he could be based off of, but we just have to wait and see. I've seen some pretty good statements about who the template can be based off of. I've seen some pretty bad ones, to be quite honest, right? So I won't talk really about them because, you know, that'll just take us down a crazy tangent of, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda stuff, you know what I mean? And that's not really what we're here for. I'm trying to keep it a little bit more concise, at least specifically for this video. So, but at the end of the day, we're just gonna have to wait and see what else is revealed about these Clawgrime creatures, what their true purpose is, and how that may evolve over time. You know, we'll see how those things are able to evolve over time. But everyone, I really appreciate you guys watching this. Sorry I haven't been able to kind of post a lot recently. I know I keep trying to say like, hey, you know, gonna get back to it, but really I'm gonna get back to a much more frequent schedule of postings and everything. So so be sure to subscribe for any videos and turn on post notifications as well, so that they are up to date whenever a new video is released. Like I said, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned until the next video. Like I said, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you all next time. Take care.